Hello guys, Denx Gaming here. Thank you very much for watching. So today I'm gonna show you a special video which would be myself analyzing the new patch for Clash Royale which was deployed yesterday. Really cool one with 6 new cards, and I'm gonna speak a lot about them. I'm gonna speak more even about the balanced changes in the tournaments and also in the cards that have been changed, and I'm gonna touch a little bit the quality of life changes that came along. I think they're really cool, but my main idea is to give you some strategic advice for each one of the arenas you might be in, so you can take your game to another level. So the first thing I want to speak about, and the main one from my point of view, is the balance changes. Okay, so the first line says mortar being nerfed, deployment time increased to 5 seconds from 3, expected change, and the damage decreased by 10%. I think it's a little bit too much. Maybe with the second 5 seconds would be enough, but I'm not gonna be the one crying about the mortar being too bad at the moment. I just don't like the mechanic, as many of the YouTubers don't, so there's not much to say about it. Anyhow, the second one, the bomb tower that neither of you liked. As a bomb tower user, I really welcome the change as well, because I had major issues taking it down with my own deck, and I use it reactively, so I don't really have it on all the time as the other players usually have, and it's a pain to play against. Now it won't be that much. It's gonna be too weak against spawner decks, and I'm a little bit scared about that, given that one of the new cards is also a spawner card. But we'll see how it goes. For now, from the first, let's say, 50 games that I've played, nothing too special to cry about, but it's more balanced now. The third nerf that I also welcome is Elixir Collector hit points to 20%. Now I'm really considering to have a damage spell like Lightning just for the Elixir Collector and something else, because I see it a lot in Arena 8. Everybody has an Elixir Collector. It forces you to make a reckless attack with everything that you have, because it's the only counter, and you get wrecked more often than not, and then you just have a big disadvantage with the Elixir Pump on and maybe a second one, and then just have a hard game from there on. But if you have a nuke, you can just kill it now, even with not big of a change in terms of Elixir. So something that I think is okay, and using it defensively as a meat shield is not gonna be that viable now, so that's cool as well. The cannon nerf that a lot of you guys didn't like, I think it was kind of needed. I like the approach, the same as with the Tesla. High damage, low HP. Like, it's a reactive card, it should be played like that. It shouldn't be a card that can tank that much of a damage, because the cannon, guys, deals really a lot of damage. It's a card that can kill almost everything if it's frozen in front of it. So I think just a small HP nerf is not that big of an issue. I think it should have been like 5%, something negligible like that. But 11, I'm fine. I used it as well, but I think the cannon was a little bit too strong. And now I'm trying to use the Tesla, since the bomb tower and the cannon got a little bit nerfed. But if that didn't happen, I would for sure went for the cannon. So that right away speaks as the card being the best defense right now. And the next change is the one that I'm really scared about. I saw it a lot. Maybe everybody has a high level Royale Giant and doesn't know what to do with it, but it's really good now, because I'm gonna tell you why. The Royale Giant range increased by 1 is the biggest nerf that this card has received, and it received a 20% damage nerf before. So why is this more important that the previous nerf? Is because now it outranges the towers. Okay, so if the other player starts with the Royal Giant in the back, and you know that you have to defend the push, what is the first thing you do? You put your defensive tower on, because this is what, if you see just a golem coming down or a P.E.K.K.A, and you don't have an Inferno, you just have some bomb tower or cannon, you just put it on and try to cycle your units to have the best defense possible, or you go for the other tower. But for 6 Elixir, the Royal Giant gives enough opportunity for the other player to defend the other tower, and you cannot, the other player, the opponent of the Royal Giant, cannot just put a defense, because this thingy is gonna kill it right away, and then go for a tower, and you will not be able to do anything about it because it just sits on the bridge. And of course, whenever this giant reaches the bridge, the other player will have a lot of stuff behind, like Valkyries, giant skeletons, I don't know, wizards. I have seen everything by now, and you cannot just take 2000 HP with anything just because you want it to. It will have defenses. So for me, this card is really strong now. I like it. I kind of hate it because it punishes the way I play the game. I like to play fast, and it's a slow card, but I think I welcome the Royal Giant, our new overlord. You're gonna see a lot of that, okay? Anyway, next card, Mirror. Common and rare cards mirrored level 1 higher. This is something that I really like as well because I cannot use the mirror, and almost nobody can because it was too low level for the commons and rare, so you have to have an epic deck going on, or maybe legendaries and all this stuff that nobody has if he's not paying crap lot of money. So now it's a little bit better if you have a nice mirror. If you get a super magical chest and you get a mirror level 4 and you don't know what to do with it, oh, now you can do a lot of stuff. So there you go. But this is also linked to tournament levels that I'm gonna speak about later on as well. And it's a welcome change. I think the card needs a small buff. The Valkyrie will be affected by pushback when hit by fireball, mini P.E.K.K.A as well. Nobody is throwing fireballs on Valkyries and mini P.E.K.K.A, so I don't think that's that big of an issue, but it's there. Like, there are other units that do the same, so I think it's something that should be in the game just for consistency, but it's not that important. And some range values fixed, and some changes that everybody was scared that the King Tower range would be different, but it hasn't. Everything should be the same. So these are the balance changes, and from here on, the main point would be to see how the new cards adapt to this meta. Here I can see some Royal Giant coming on. The Hog Rider will still be strong. The Freeze is still strong. That means that every deck that depends on that, it's not only always Hog. Hog Rider is depending on the Freeze because it's a card that you see a lot in the lower levels, but Double Prince with P.E.K.K.A and even minions as well with freeze, Goblin Barrel freeze. You can do a lot of things. Balloon freeze, of course, and now Sparky freeze. Sparky freeze, guys, is the OP combination that I see. So the problem is always the freeze. Anyway, let's go here to the main page where the first line says 6 new cards, new common card, Fire Spirits. Let's go to the picture since it's funnier. So Fire Spirits, common card. You're gonna see too much of those until you get them to level 8 or whatever. So it's a card that kills itself. I'm not gonna speak too much about this card as they work, since you can have like at least 20-15 videos over the internet with people playing with those cards. So I'm gonna say how they can adapt in the meta. So this card attacks ground and air. It's easy to kill, too easy to kill, but if placed right, like if you expect a minion horde, or if you just have a small attack and you expect the other player to defend with something squishy, these guys can help you out big time. And I think defending, distracting, they can do a lot of stuff, and they're cheap enough. So there is always the question, okay, maybe they don't do too much, but skeletons don't do too much neither, or goblins, they just have one function because it's a cheap card, so it can cycle as well. It cannot be played alone. That's one of the downsides. Like goblin archers or even normal goblins for 2 elixir can reach the tower and get some HP down, but these guys would just die, so they don't work that well as a cycling card, but they can be a nice addition. The furnace that you see there is a rare card, and it's a spawner for these small spirits. Same stuff, same idea as the other huts. I'm a little bit scared of that, as maybe I said before, but overall it's a balanced card, just a spawner every 5 or 10 every 9 or 10 seconds. So 2 spirits every 10 seconds can be manageable, but if you plan to defend cheaply, like I usually did against barbarians, let's say with goblin archers, because the goblin archers can clean at least 2 waves of barbarians by themselves, so that's a very good elixir change. Well, now if they have this hut as well, one of those guys is gonna to just kill all the goblins, and then you have to think of something else. Same thing works for minions or anything cheap that you want to try to defend. Now you have to get the tower down or something bigger to uh, to make the interaction better. So it's a nice addition, but my first impression is that 3 spawners, it's too much. Like, the spawner deck works quite well because it has other cards as well. It has Hog Rider lately, it has Poison, it has other support cards like Barbarians, like Goblin Archers, Normal Archers, Arrows. So there is really no place for this, in my opinion. We'll see if someone can put it maybe instead of the Goblin Hut, or maybe in a deck that is not really spawners. But for me, the 3 spawners is kind of too much. But anyway, the third card is the epic card that I really like. It's the Guardian Skeletons, and they were really funny to watch them play, work, how they function. Is the same idea as the Dark Prince, and to an extent, it's a card that should be used defensively, and they can defend against a P.E.K.K.A by themselves, which is amazing. But overall, I don't find them that useful in my kind of decks. I like to play really fast decks to punish mistakes and elixir advantage, and they're kind of slow, and attacking they're not that good. Like, for example, goblins and goblin archers and skeletons can be used for distractions, for defending, but if you have them in your cycling cards to attack, they can deal a lot of damage. Even especially the goblins, the normal goblins, they can take out a tower. So these guys can be good, but they're still in the gray area for me of the card that can be reactive and useful. So it's an epic card as well, which is also not very good for free-to-play players, since you're gonna need a lot of time to get them to level 4 or at least level 3. I have them in both my accounts, and they don't really work very well as a level 1 in Arena 8. So it's a nice card. I think every one of you will find a place for it, but for me, it's a card that shouldn't be used when you try to claim higher arenas. Like, I'm gonna create another video later on, guys, which would be explaining how to create a deck to win against players with higher level cards, against level 10, level 11 players when you're level 8. I do that consistently, and I think it can be done regularly to a certain extent. And this is one of the cards that I wouldn't include in that type of decks, because you need fast decks. Anyway, 3 legendaries, which you can see below, is the Lava Hound, majestic flying beast, typical to the golem. Not typical, but similar to the golem, and it works with the same idea of big cards that goes for a tower. But when it dies, it's a flying card. It has a lot of lava pups that actually also attack other stuff, not like with the golem that go for the nearest tower. In this case, they also attack the other units, so it's a little bit different, but for me will always be a flying golem. The damage that it deals is not that big, so don't be that scared if you see it reaching your tower. It's not like the golem that if it reaches the tower, it's done. In this case, they don't deal that much damage, so you can have some goblin archers to take it out for like 5 or 10 seconds, and then just arrows or whatever if you think it's needed to take out the pups, and you're fine. The card that it's a little bit harder to deal with is the miner. You can spawn it everywhere. It's the same idea as the goblin barrel, and for me it's the same card. For me, it didn't really need to have a different card doing the same thing, but there will be a time and place where every card will have different variations when the game evolves. So it's nice to have, because the main difference is it cannot be nuked. It's actually pretty tanky, so you cannot just arrow it or zap it as you can do with the Goblin Barrel. It's a different idea. You have to place a unit to kill it, and it can work as distraction as well. Like for example, you attack with some goblins from the bridge, and this guy pops up near the tower, and the tower is distracted, and the goblin is just destroyed. So it's a really nice card. I got it against me quite a few times, and I didn't like it too much, but you can deal with it with your own goblins or with something expensive that you want to push later on with. The card that is really scary is Sparky, guys. Sparky, it's a unit that you have probably seen by now that obliterates everything. It needs 5 seconds to charge an attack, and then it attacks in AoE. At least it's only ground, and it's slow. It looks like a tank, so if you have to picture it some way, it's like a tank that moves slowly, and if it focuses on your tower, it kills it in 2 hits. So you have to distract it, and when it crosses the bridge, you have to put something over it, like barbarians, minion horde, just to take it out. But people that you play against are not usually that stupid, so they have other stuff like wizards behind, Valkyries. And my main issue with this card is just freeze. It's like if the card is locking on the tower and you deploy something over it, the other player can just freeze it, clean it, and go for a tower. So the issue of this card, for me, it's not OP. For me, it's actually pretty squishy. It doesn't look like it, but it doesn't have that much HP. You can kill it pretty fine. But with freeze, some cards at least with freeze go to a next level, and this is one of those cards. So until freeze is changed, this would be very hard to deal with if the other player knows what he's doing. So if you have it in your deck, guys, put a wizard to take out the minions right away. The minion horde is the hard counter of this card, and against barbarians the wizard works fine as well. Put some Valkyries, put freeze, and just go for it. Have some cheaper defenses for the other tower, just to not lose your tower when you're attacking. But other than that, very very nice card. So each one of those cards will have their spot in the current meta. For me, the Sparky is the best one. The spawners I don't really like, and the guards I don't really like. And in general, 06 ones are not the type of cards I would play, but it's fun to have more options and to not really know what's gonna happen when you face someone and he places a P.E.K.K.A. or a Prince, and now I already know what the other 7 cards, or at least 5 cards are. With more cards, it's always funnier, it's always better, it's always more fun to keep playing. So apart from that, more rewards. Gold for each win. Thank you very much. In the beta, when I started playing, you had to pay to play, so a big change here. Crown chest contains twice as much. Amazing change. This is the best actually, because the silver chests are crap. For me, the silver chests are just chests that you use to cycle before you get to the good stuff. They just give you a few commons and that's it. But gold chests are really good. They can give you nice cards. They give you rares. At least in Arena 8, they give you 3 or 4 rares at least. But twice that, like what the crown tower does that, it's like doubling what you receive a day. And if you manage to reach it every time, you get a really nice amount of cards flowing. The super magical chest chance to drop doubled. Okay, that's better than none, I guess. But as I said before, I have 2 accounts playing almost every day. I haven't seen one of those. So if now I have double the chance, maybe I still not see it. If it's just pure randomness, I think it should be in the cycle some way, in a way. But if it's random, it's just there doubling. it's better than none, but it's not a chest that you see that often. So don't get your hopes up by this change. And the giant and magical chest chance to drop increased. You have actually one giant chest and one magical chest more in the cycle, which is very nice. And donation and request increases as you reach higher arenas. Okay, so this is amazing, guys. This is really cool change, and here I'm gonna show you how it looks like. So this is for arena 7, if I'm not mistaken. You can donate more cards and you can receive more cards. So just an amazing change. You're gonna win a lot of gold of this. Yeah, there are some complaints that now everything costs more, and that the chests give less or whatever. That doesn't really matter if you can move that many cards from one player to another. If you're able to just donate or receive, like with 40 commons or 4 rares every time that I ask for donation, I would have had level 9, or I can have level 10 cards in a week, and that's amazing. I couldn't do that before. So yes, there can be complaints about the gold. Yes, I'm gonna need gold, and that's the plan of Supercell, probably to need gold to upgrade those cards. And maybe if you just buy it for 10 euros some of them, you'll be able to get what you want. So that seems like to be the plan, but I don't really hate it. I like the opportunity to have higher level cards for free. Before it wasn't possible. Okay. So donation request, card shop, legendary can appear once you reach the legendary arena. Very cool, but they will cost 40,000 if I'm not mistaken. I cannot afford that. Even if I could, that would maim my other cards that I have to improve or upgrade. So this is only for the guys that want to spend a little more. And if I get this in the shop of my spending accounts, I might put $10 in. I don't know, but overall it's also something that I don't expect to happen that often. And maximum gold increased to 1 million, not really considered to any of us. And spectating TV Royale, there will be matches for every arena, so something that every of you guys asked, and now it's not only the highest players fighting. There are some interesting matches. I haven't watched many of them, but it looks cool, and you change channels like in the TV, so it's funny, it's cool, it should be there. You ask for it, they put it, so everything's perfect. More cool stuff, some quality of life improvements, as I said before. You can copy decks with one click, you can reshuffle your decks, you can get info of the legendary cards before you couldn't. So cool stuff. Badges, the shop is cheaper now, it improves, it increases in a linear fashion and not exponential, so that's cool as well. And other than that, clan orders can kick on. There is a cooldown between kicking. Okay, cool. Balance. Apart from the balance that we spoke already, in the changes, new max card levels, the caps have been changed to 5, 8, 11, 13. So 5 for legendaries, epics, rares, and commons, 8, 11, 13. That doesn't really concern me too much, but the other changes really concerned me, which is the tournament rules. So as a player that likes to play as many tournaments as I can, and since most of them are organized in the USA, I have bad timing schedule for that since I live in Europe, but I really like the competitive side of this game, and I will look forward to this change. I'm gonna explain why. First, of course, yes, the first impression that you see is right there, epics level cap 4. This is something that cannot be achieved free to play right now. In a couple of months, maybe 3 or 4, we're gonna get some of our epics to level 4. So that's a nice change, and maybe with the new chests and so on, it would be easier. So it's harder to get to and people that go to tournament levels are gonna have to improve as well, and rares are not that easy to get to 7. So overall, we need to push a little more, but I like this change for one specific reason, and it's because the cards with higher levels deal more damage than the towers, and there's more skill involved. My first impressions of playing some matches in the friendlies with this is that you have more room to do plays, to make good exchanges, elixir trades, and before you had the crown tower, which is maybe too strong, helping both of us, and now I think with this change, just a lone goblin attack or just some small units can deal a lot of damage, because that's how they're made to do in the higher levels. The change is not that big, it's only one level, but from the other hand, you'll notice it. You'll be really considerably feel that change just by a small attack. You'll see that every interaction is a little bit different. But anyway, the legendaries cap is kept at 1. Thank you very much for that. I don't have any legendaries, and even if I had, I think they're a little bit too strong, understanding why as well. But now, for all the players that I see in the tournaments with the legendaries, they will have at least a small disadvantage compared to card levels, in terms of card levels, which is fair because their cards are better than the most. So my deck is commons and rares for obvious reasons, and it's better for tournaments than it was before. And the players that play with epics that before got demolished because epics level 3 are crap against commons level 8, now things are different. If you see 2 princes level 4 coming down the lane, it's a lot different than before. So welcome change from my side. I really like it, and overall the patch, how it came, it was also very nice. I liked 90% of the changes. The other 10% I didn't really have a feeling for, but there is no change that I didn't like. And the main point for me would be in the balance side is to change the freeze to make it weaker. But apart from that, I think the game is pretty balanced. I expect the Royal Giant to be scary, but other than that, the game is fun, guys. If you have reached this point of the video, thank you very much. I understand it's very long, but I hope it has been interesting for you. And if you have anything to ask or to add, just write in the comments. If you want to make a discussion about this patch, you can use the comments as well. I'll try to jump in any conversation that you might have. And thank you as well again for watching. Let me know if you want to see something in specific later on in my next videos. And have a nice day, guys. Ciao, ciao.